Guys, hope everyone's having a good week. There's not too much happening this week. I kind of want to just make a quick video with some thoughts. So number one, someone did mention I could do like a ladder winch. I did think about that, but for this, it seems like since it's one story, it might not be that big of a deal just to throw it off. That's why I got the pallets. Maybe I'll build up some boxes. I definitely don't want to tackle that by myself. I really want to do that and have someone else in case it smashes on me and I die. I suppose if I die, it doesn't really matter, but if it smashes on me and I get seriously injured. So that's on the list for this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get that done in this video. The weather is fantastic, actually. It's 66 degrees outside for this one day only. So the entire house is getting ventilated. You'll see fans. I have a bouncy house blower I bought at auction for $5, and that thing is super loud. You'll see that right there. That moves a lot of air. But this week I figured what I'd do is I would just do a lot of outdoor work while I can. There are some things that are kind of concerning that will require further investigation. And I know I'm kind of scatterbrained on this kind of stuff, but I think I have ADHD, and every time I see something, I just want to fix it. So the roof stuff I'm trying to get figured out basically with like permitting and stuff like that. So that's on the list of things to do. We can't really do anything until the permitting comes through, the trusses get built, and our ordered wood gets built, and then I'll have to hire some additional labor. But this is a really interesting part right over here. So this retaining wall is almost, I think, over 100 years old. The original drawing of the house had this retaining wall in, and as you see at the bottom here, there are weep holes, and these weep holes are probably integral to why this hasn't fallen down. So a couple months ago, I noticed there's a bunch of sand or dirt buildup right here. And I was like, oh, that's not good because they'll prevent the, the water from coming through. So it will bow right here. So basically I shoveled this and I spread it around, and long and behold, it is covered up again. So I think there's actually something living behind here. So I think probably one of the springtime activities is, number one, we're gonna probably get rid of this smaller tree in the front here and dig behind this wall and see what this void is, and then fill it with number 2 gravel. Second, what we had is we have a smaller retaining wall back here, which is collapsing. And the other day, this part collapsed. And as you see, this small tree branch stuck out, so I couldn't get in the driveway. So I cut this away. But this is something else that I kind of have to think about. Do I actually want to rebuild this retaining wall, or do I want it to gradually slope downward? So those are kind of some thoughts. Oh, the third thing is, as many of you guys may know, it is very, very difficult to get mail here. I don't know why. The mailbox is, been in the same location for, since the building was built, at minimum since 1968 when the annex was built. And the biggest issue is I've contacted the post office probably like 7, 8, 9 times. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll tell the carrier, whatever. And it doesn't seem to be working. So they had me relocate the mailbox, which I did. But they're still not putting mail in it for some reason. So if you recall the retaining wall back here, I'll show you where the mailbox is. The mailbox is right where those barrels are, right by that door. And the reason for that is apparently the mail route doesn't actually go to the front of the house. He comes all the way through the back, goes to the dean's house, and then comes down. So he never comes to the front of the house. So because of that, it seems like they just want to skip this house and just not bring the mail here. So normally I wouldn't really complain about that, but lately I think the main thing is, can I or should I sue the Postal Service? And I feel like when you sue another party, it's for damages. And I think one of the biggest things is I missed 2 court dates because I'm not sure if you guys know, like most of the time the government, when they send court dates, it's by mail. And so 2 of the court dates to battle the property taxes, I got a call and they said, hey, where are you? Your court date starts in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I never got a notice. And they're like, well, we sent the notice in the mail 2 months ago. So, yeah, they basically just never delivered it. So that's kind of a pretty large large, I would say damages, potential damages, but then again, you have to prove it. So I'm not really quite sure if that's something that's, you can prove that, hey, you would win this court case, whatnot, and because of that, you should sue them. But basically, they just don't deliver the mail. That's it. I did a little experiment. I mailed out 10 different letters from the same address, mailed to one, my other house, and the other one here. And out of the 10 letters, 9 of them didn't show up here. Only one showed up, and it showed up 2 months later. So I'm not really quite sure what I can do here. But today is a nice day, so I'm going to try to finish out some of the work here. But a couple of updates, I suppose, during the winter time. The power company decided to come by and cut down all these trees in the front. I don't know why. They said they may conflict with the power lines. I didn't want to argue with them. The large tree out front here is still collapsing, and I think what has to happen is these trees in the front here probably need to get cut down because, number one, in strong winds, they actually blow and hit against the actual house, which is not good. Two, I'll just show you. Not sure if you can kind of see this. These trees were actually brought here at some point in time. Ouch! And they were brought in, and you could see the roots are actually already exposed. So some of these aren't doing so good anyhow. And these trees do smack against the actual building when the wind blows hard. So I'm thinking probably it might be a good idea to remove a lot of these and replant them. And also, as you see, the stucco is damaged towards the bottom there, and that needs to be repaired. So I kind of think like having the trees there are nice, but it does keep a lot of moisture around the foundation, which is not great. And also it kind of potentially hides a lot of the damage, which I kind of do want to address. So I think eventually I will be removing a lot of these trees, maybe building a sidewalk or some sort of concrete border around here to kind of like have the water drain away. And then as you see the tree over there, that thing's fallen apart. You can see on the ground over there that it's fallen apart from termite damage. So I need to call someone to remove that, or I need to finally get that bucket truck and just cut it down. So this is a short video. I also injured myself. I pulled something in my leg. It is not healing real good. So walking around kind of sucks right now. But anyways, I wanted to update everyone, letting you know I'm still alive, nothing crazy is happening, and I think that's on the agenda. So hopefully next week you'll see the removal of that stuff. The actual mini splits internally are really bad. They have mold on them. They're coming out anyways, but I have to figure out, is it a viable solution to reuse those copper lines, or should I just start new? And I'm starting to think probably I should just start anew because there's a lot of, it's a different refrigerant, so you have to flush them. And even though they did hold pressure, a lot of the insulation on them are falling off, so I'd have to re-insulate them, which I guess isn't a big deal, but we'll see how much it costs to replace the actual mini split lines. And I think having newer lines might be better anyhow. And I am considering, instead of having both on top, well, they were both on top. I was considering, here's the side of the building. And if you can see right there, I was considering potentially running a longer 220 volt line across the building and just having a concrete pad there and having the mini split sit out there, the condensing unit. And then the other one, since this building is 64 feet long, I think it would make sense to kind of split it so that you're not running lines that go all the way across the other side, maybe half and half. And that way you always have a little bit of redundancy also, instead of how it was set up before, where you had a unit for each floor. In case a unit fails, you still have some cooling and heating on each floor until the other unit's fixed. And the last point I kind of wanted to think about was, it has been a harsh winter this winter, and I know it's very atypical, but I'm considering putting in maybe like a pellet stove. I don't know where to put it. I don't know where to vent it, but it could be power vented, so it doesn't need to go through the roof, and it could just go through a smaller section of the building, which would be nice. And then also, as you see, that is where the old condensing unit was, and I'm thinking it might be more beneficial to put it down here, closer to the ground on the wall, on a wall bracket. That way, for servicing, it's easier to, you know, fix. I mean, the units I bought are made by a company called Gree, which is a pretty large company in terms of mini splits. I think they're the largest Chinese manufacturer of mini splits. But once again, it's not like a Mitsubishi unit. It's not like a, you know, Sanyo unit, or like some of these units that are better well known, made in Japan, that you can worry less. But either way, I think being able to service it or have a servicing in mind would be better. So I'm thinking maybe like on the wall, maybe a couple feet off the ground here. It's not really going to eat up into too much space, and they're relatively quiet. I have considered deleting that window and this window perhaps, because they don't really serve that big of a purpose. And if I did, I could just brick that up and mount it directly on that, and already have a hole that goes through there to into the building. So I think that's about it for this video. Once again, I apologize, it's really short. It's been a hectic week, and we've had a lot to do. So hopefully next week we'll have some more action-packed stuff, and we'll finally start moving along on stuff as weather starts to warm up. Thanks again for watching, and thanks again to our channel members. I will see you next week. Thanks.